not exactly rocket science. You would want to use minor chords if you want to make a sad song. So basically sad songs have minor chords in them. Anyway, let's go back. So we've already learned this is the nut, this is the bridge, and we're going to start learning our chords. Here's A. B is exactly 2 frets higher with the same setup. So that's B. I will assure you C and F are going to be the hardest chords you ever learn when you're first starting to learn, because your fingers on your hand that you fret with have got a lot of catching up to do to catch up with your hand that you pick with. You've done stuff, you've learned how to write, you've learned how to throw baseballs and softballs and footballs and all that with your throwing hand. Your other hand is basically just set there. Guess what? Now they both get to catch up with each other. That can take some time. Forming the C chord is very difficult when you're not used to it in your first start, but there's no way around it. You got to do it. So C is like this. D is like this. The D chord will be very important here in just a few minutes. So that's D. E is the lowest chord you can form back here at the nut. That's D. F is exactly 1/2 fret higher. Once again, bar chord. That's B-A-R-R-E. Hold your finger across the fretboard like that and form this E type chord 1 fret higher. So that becomes F and then G. I'll show you some songs here in just a minute that have those chords in them that you heard all your life, but you're like, oh, so that's how they do it. Alright, another thing that I need to show you when you're first starting out is basically songs are made up of 4 or 5 different things. There's riffs. Then there's the melody part where the guitar player just basically just strums along in rhythm. There's the lead parts, and then there's the bridge part. So you've heard these riffs all your life, but here we go, and I'm going to show you how to do that forming them with the chords that we just learned a while ago. Here's another one. This one. Here's another one. Here's another one from the same group. How about this one? How about this one? What about this one? Something like that. So we've got riffs to start off these songs, and then we've got places where we just kind of strum along. This is where the singer would come in. Alright, then there's the leads, and I'm not going to show you very many leads, but usually, not always, the riffs are formed on the top bass string. The The rhythm is played on the middle string. And the leads, most of the time, are played on the smaller strings. Not always, but as a general rule. So your bass strings are for the riffs. The middle strings are for your harmony in the middle where you're just strumming along. And the lower strings or the bottom strings are for the leads and stuff. Bridges, usually when you get to the bridge, it's a key change. Basically, that's all it is. Some songs have bridges, some don't. I guess it depends on the singer if they can hit those notes and stuff. So basically, practice, practice, practice. That's the only thing I can tell you when you first start out. It will be boring. Your fingers on your fretting hand will get extremely sore. That's a good sign. That means you've been practicing. And eventually you get to the point where it doesn't even bother you at all. But the big other things you got to worry about, you got to get the left hand and the right hand in sequence with each other. That's the one that takes a little time and it takes a little bit of doing it. But if you stick with it and don't listen to your friends and family, like I didn't, you can finally get to the point where you can start making headway. So basically, that's it on the first part, except don't forget, strings close to the fretboard, get you a tuner. Now also you're going to need picks. There are all kinds of different picks out there. These are the most common, the teardrop shape. They come in all kind of different strengths. They start out very thin. You may want to get a very thin pick starting with, because the thinner the pick, the less likely you're going to break the string. If you break the string, you got to go back and replace it. It's easy to do them on the acoustic guitars. It's a challenge to do them on the ones that have the floating tremolos. I'll get to that in just a minute. So you got the teardrop picks, which most people use. I personally prefer the triangle picks. They look like this. The reason why I like them is if you get like where you cut the string kind of into pick, all you got to do is just flip it and then you got 3 different sides, as opposed to the teardrops where you only got one side. All these things come in different widths. They all come in different colors. It's up to you on that one. Here's one of these really funky ones that I got back when I watched the Woodstock video. Carlos Santana was playing these big triangle picks. You might want to hold off on those, but there's all kinds. Just find which one ever works for you. So, bridge, nut, strings in between. Acoustic guitars usually come to about the 14th fret. This one is actually what they call an acoustic cutaway. It's also an acoustic electric, so you can actually plug it in. It has a built-in equalizer on it, so you can actually tune in the tone. Pitch means how fast the string vibrates. Tone means whether you want to go for a trebly sound or whether you want to go for a basic sound. So that's about it for the beginning guitar lesson. Main thing, practice, practice, practice. You have no way around these major chords. Just got to learn them. If you learn them, you can strum along to just about any song you listen to. You might not be fancy. You might just want to play in church. You might just want to play rhythm. But you still got to learn the minor chords and the major chords. But start off learning the major chords. Alright, that's it for the beginning guitar lesson. Intermediate